Cue the cheesy podcast music.
Welcome to Megafest, where we don't just manifest, we Megafest. I'm your host, Megs Malloy. I'm creating a community of silly and soulful working moms who are mostly happy, but know they're capable of more. More self-love, more self-esteem, more self-trust, more calm, joy, natural highs, more magic in the world, and more laughter. Each week, me and my guests will bring you tips and tricks on how to make the most of your one precious life. And we're going to make them effective and efficient because ain't nobody got time for that. I believe in you. I see the light in you. I want you to shine your light. I want you to become all that you're capable of. So let's hang out. Let's Megafest together. Welcome back to Megafest. This is episode 5. Can you believe it? We're really coming along now. 5 whole episodes. I tell you what, today I was a guest on a podcast. I was recalling my story about my own burnout and the moment when I realized it just was not working anymore. And although it brought back a lot of hard memories, talking about my own burnout just reignites my passion to help other working moms not go through what I went through, and I never want to go through it again. So reminding myself of the steps that I need to take, like calming my nervous system, taking care of me, checking in with myself. How am I feeling? How am I doing? What do I need? And actually giving it to myself. And coincidentally, today's Megafest guest also went through her own burnout. She was a high-powered attorney. She had the career. She had the life. She started having children. Then she started to feel anxiety and depression and self-doubt. She felt like she was trapped and burned out. And she had to release the thoughts, beliefs, traumas that were holding her back. So she transformed her mindset and programmed new beliefs, and now she's thriving. Simple as that, right? It's not easy, but you got to do the work, but it can happen. And she brings this knowledge to her clients with hypnosis and EFT, which is also known as tapping, NLP, which is subconscious reprogramming, and my favorite and her favorite, breathwork. So our guest today is Katrina Wu, and she helps overwhelmed working moms move from self-doubt to balance and confidence. What an amazing shift. We sometimes don't even know that we need that, but I think we can all agree that we could use more confidence. A couple months ago, I had noticed Katrina on Instagram, and I saw that we were doing kind of the same thing. The message is the same, that we want to help working moms. So I thought that she would be a perfect person to talk to you today to help bring her methods and her wisdom and her experience to help you create your own balance and confidence. So today we'll talk about her journey of how she went from burnout and then recovered, and now she's thriving. The word of the day is jubilant, which means feeling or expressing great joy or triumph, especially from success. And Katrina is so smart. She's so smart. And she used the word so many times. So can't wait for you to hear that. She has so much to offer in the transformation space. I'm so excited for you to hear from her. All right, Katrina Wu is in the house.
Woo!
Hey, welcome to the studio. You are
Thank you.
You are so welcome and loved here, Katrina. And I just want to tell you, I am feeling so jubilant that you are here, and we are gonna have a great convo and have lots of techniques for our stressed out working moms right now. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Katrina.
And I am so jubilant to be here.
Yeah. Hey, good job. Word of the day. Good job. We love to, at Megafest, pretend like it's a party. And like any good party, when you walk in, I'm going to say, hey, what will you have to drink, Katrina? What can I get for you? So when you go to a party, what is your drink of choice?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it depends because I am nursing. So a lot of the times it's sparkling water, which I have right here. I love a good sparkling water. And if I'm drinking alcohol, lately it's been wine because that just feels like, pretty good to have right now. But if it's like a party where there's going to be like dancing and kind of, jumping around, then there's probably going to be some tequila involved. So like a margarita, something like that.
Yeah. I love how you have different options for different occasions. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite? Because there's so many sparkling waters out there. Do you have a favorite?
Oh my gosh, I do. And I don't know the name of it because they don't have it at like a grocery store. So like, of course there's like, Perrier, Pellegrino. I love Topo Chico.
Yeah.
Love that brand. But there's another one. It starts with an F and it's a green bottle with a red label. And they mostly have it at like restaurants. I don't really see it in the store. So, but when they have it, I get so excited because it's so good. But like from the market, I would get Topo Chico is like a really yummy one.
Yeah.
Or the green bottle with the red label. It's with an F, I think. And yeah.
I'll have to be on the lookout for that because I'm definitely a sparkling water kind of gal. I was going to say sparkling wine, but and what kind of wine?
I love a good, oh my gosh, you know what? I take it back. My drink of choice is like over everything is going to be a sparkling rosé, like a champagne rosé.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. Well, that's what you'll have along with your water. And this is a very American question that I found people ask at parties in all other places in the world. They just don't even approach the issue or the subject, but today, this is what we're here to talk about. So at a party, we say, oh, so what do you do? And when you're at a party, what do you say?
Yeah, what do I say? And the reason I'm like, how do I say this? Because I've spent the last, 9-10 years of my life practicing law as an attorney. And that was like a big part of me and almost like a big part of my identity that I had to release and that I still like release because it's like part of me still wants to say it, but I'm not practicing law anymore. I mean, I would like to do pro bono work. But other than that, I've really left that aside to do intuitive life coaching, which I love working with the subconscious mind and working on mindset and manifesting, really like dreaming and creating our realities and healing. Like it's all related because when we're manifesting, the mindset is going to be a part of the journey and the process, as well as the healing, right? Releasing things and healing things that hold us back, the beliefs, the traumas, and all of that. So I love to describe it that way.
When you say intuitive, so that means the subconscious mind. Is that right?
For me, what it means is that I really do feel like I'm led by my intuition. And so I don't know that necessarily means the subconscious mind. For me, it means that like I truly am guided. So when I'm in a call with a client or in a group program, because I have a membership, I do feel like led to ask certain questions or to offer certain perspectives. And that's what I mean by intuitive, is really just not having like, this is one formula that kind of works for everybody. I mean, there is like basic things that, we all share and go through that I can use with my clients, but it's like using my intuition to kind of guide me to determine like what can I ask for this person that might be different for the next? Or what kind of modalities can I use on this person that might be different for the next?
That sounds awesome. That's a great way to do it, I think, because I truly do believe that we're getting downloads constantly. And for you to be able to be open to receive those and guide that client to what they need to hear is really important. So, Katrina, what made you leave the law practice?
It's so funny because I fell in love with the practice of law before I left it. So what do I mean by that? So there was a period in my career where, I was just like killing it. I was doing so well. I was getting recognitions. I was like leading the women's retreat at the firm. I was on on organizations, on boards, just like my superiors were telling me like, oh my gosh, Katrina, like you're doing amazing, like you're growing and all of this. And I was like, this is awesome. And then I got pregnant with my daughter and I was like, this is still awesome. Like, this is great. Like, I'm going to do it differently. Like, even though I didn't really have an example of others who had done it differently, at least in my firm, I know they existed, but I didn't see too much of it where I was working, but I knew it existed. And I was like, hey, if it exists for one person, I can do it. And even if it doesn't exist, like, why not create it? Right. And then I had my daughter and I was like, I'm going to go back to work, 50, 60 hours a week. And I would leave her at home. And I started to feel sad. I was like, I want to spend more time with her and I want to be with her more. And I love it that my mother-in-law is with her, but I want to be the one, playing with her. And so I did feel torn. I felt like I wanted to have a career. I wanted to have this, fulfilling thing that I was doing with my life, but also like be there for my daughter and be this like present mom and just like love on her so much and have that time with her, right? Like it's one thing to have like quality time, but it's one thing to have like lots of time. And I wanted lots of time with my daughter. And I just didn't see how it was going to work out. Like I didn't know, and I didn't really have the understanding that I have now of like manifestation and all of this. So I didn't really know how it was going to happen, but I just knew these were the feelings that I had. And then I got pregnant with my son. My daughter was 10 months old at the time, and everything really just like shifted for me in a really dark way, to be like really honest. Like I started to feel anxiety. I started to feel like depression. I started to have anxiety attacks. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I had all this worry. Like I had created this life that I thought was what I wanted. Like I wanted to have the career and I wanted the beautiful home and I wanted the family and all of that. And so I was like, I have all those things that I thought I wanted, but I feel like trapped in this life. Like I don't want this life anymore. And I was like, let's just sell everything and start like, move away. And I was like, I can't handle it. I couldn't really handle it. And I felt so trapped. Like most women, I think, I thought this is just going to pass. Like I've had this happen before.
Just power through.
Pass. Yeah. Just power through. Just get through it. Pregnant, little baby, 10-month-old baby. Like let's just power through it, working those, long hours and doing it all. And then I had my son, and there was a moment when like it didn't go away. All of those feelings. And I remember like specifically I was sitting on like the rocking chair with my son and we were reading a book and my daughter was there and my husband was there, and my husband and I got into an argument and I like threw the book on the floor, handed him the baby and like stormed out. And I was like, I don't want to be this person. Like, I don't want to be this mom. Like, this isn't me. This isn't who I want to be. And so I decided to get help. And so I asked for help. And I ended up seeing a hypnotherapist who helped me release a lot of the traumas and helped me, again, with the subconscious work. That's what he did with me. And so that's why I fell in love with that work, because it was truly powerful and changed my life. And I started to really like fall in love with my life. And that included like going back to the law firm, and I was working part-time and I was making good money and I was spending time with the kids and we were making it work. And everyone was like, how are you doing this? Like, you're at this big firm and you're working these hours and you're making this money. Like, how are you doing it? And I had manifested this incredible schedule, and I would go into my office at lunch and I would meditate and I would visualize in the morning, like how I wanted my days to go. And I was doing all of these rituals and routines. And I fell in love with the people I worked with, even though, years before it was really hard to work with them. And so I was just like, oh my goodness, like I love my life. I love this life I'm creating. And then there was this thought of like, it would be really nice one day to work less, to be able to maintain our lifestyle and spend more time with my kids and like, have every Friday and Monday off and go to the park with them. And,
kind of take it to the next level, kind of.
Yeah. And so like 3 weeks later, after I started to meditate on this and visualize this, it was 2020 summertime and I got laid off. And
oh my gosh.
yeah. So it's so interesting. I did that for 18 months where I worked at this firm and lived the same life that I was living before, that I felt trapped by, that I was overwhelmed by, that I wanted to like escape from. And I was living it and I was loving it and I was loving every part of it, but also having this like dream of like, oh, maybe there's, something else out there. Yeah, when I was no longer a match for that firm, I got laid off. And I was like, I could very easily find another job. I mean, even with what was going on, I was like, I could try. And I was like, but is that really what I want to do? Mm-hmm. And so I had this calling to help teach other women what I had learned and to bring that light and that message to the world. And so I ended up getting like a contract position at a small boutique firm and doing some work there while I started my coaching business.
Oh, lovely. That is great. Yeah, it's nice to not have that pressure of, oh, let me start my business. So you had like a side hustle while you were kind of starting it.
Yes, there was like a bridge, right, to get me from where I was to where I wanted to be. And, and before I even got that job, I was like, I'm going to trade stocks. And because I had been studying, stocks for a few years, and I realized like I was replacing one job with another. And I didn't want that. I wanted more of like the freedom and the flexibility. And so, yeah, it was just beautiful how it all like lined up in that way.
I'm so curious about this hypnosis, because if it really just changed everything and helped you feel so aligned, what was going on there? Tell me more about that.
And it's so funny that you asked this question because, we started this conversation with me saying like, I'm an intuitive life coach, right? And I think that when I went to this hypnotherapist and I started to learn about like the way the universe works and how our beliefs are formed and how we perceive things as like so much harder than they are. Intuitively, I knew that it was true. Like what he was saying, what we were talking about, like my intuition was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I think I've known this all along. And that's why, despite going through like traumas and things in my childhood, I've had this like optimism about life. And I've had this like ability to like dream and have visions and make them come true, and not knowing what I was doing or how I was doing it. And so then when I was able to like hear, well, actually, this is how the universe works and this is how things work, and that it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. Like there are stories that we like to tell and repeat that we've learned from childhood. And when we wake up in the morning, we have these stories and these beliefs, and then we go out into the world and those stories and beliefs are affirmed. We find evidence for that in our life. To hear that, like, maybe there's a better way, maybe that's not all true. Like, it really just resonated with me. And I think that's how, like, the subconscious work just really works so quickly and so effectively, was because I knew that truth all along. And I just needed to like wake up and have my eyes open to that, because I was ready for it. I was ready to hear the message.
Absolutely. The teacher appeared. But of all the modalities, like, how did you choose hypnosis? And sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. And I was going to talk about hypnosis because I know you asked about that.
This is an awesome episode of Megafest, but I'm just going to call a quick TO to tell you about the Soulgasm Society. My mission is to create a community of supportive and uplifting women who want to know how to make their one short precious life all the more joyful, add in some play and celebration, and learn the science behind how do you make your brain happy, all the techniques on how to calm your nervous system, and how to not fly off the mommy hamster wheel, because we can't all stop working and you can't really get rid of your kids for more than 2 weeks. You gotta deal with it. And the best way to make your life happy is from the inside out. If you're not gonna do it for yourself, do it for your kids. They will see a difference. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And there is so much truth to that. So the Soulgasm Society is your answer. Come join us. You can click the link in the bio of my Instagram or the link in the show notes. I can't wait to have multiple simultaneous soulgasms with you. All right, now back to Megafest.
So I just got referred to him by my doctor. I would have never chosen him. I mean, I had never seen a therapist. I had never talked to anyone like in most families, like in my family, like, you know, you didn't go see a therapist. You didn't really like work on yourself in that way. It was like there was something wrong, quote unquote, wrong with you if you had to go to a therapist. Like, what's wrong with you? You know, what's going on? Like, and so I never had any experience with therapy or with, you know, any of that. And so I was like a fresh, like open book, like I'm going to try anything if it's going to help. And so, and I trusted the person who was referring me to this hypnotherapist because he was someone that I admired and that I looked up to and that I trusted. And he also had used the same, you know, person as well. And so I had so much trust in the whole experience before even going into it, and just being open to like not having any idea what would happen from it or how my life would change from it, but just like trusting, like, okay, I'm making the right decision, like to go and see this person. So it wasn't like I chose hypnotherapy. It was given to me. It was given to me, and it was such a gift. And yeah, and the way that hypnotherapy works, and I'm not a hypnotherapist. I'm a hypnosis practitioner, and I also do neuro-linguistic programming and EFT tapping and breath work, which are all different modalities to help release beliefs and traumas on a subconscious level. But what my hypnotherapist did with me was he does something called biofeedback, which is asking the subconscious mind questions and then releasing it on a subconscious level. Part of it is being in a hypnotized state, which doesn't mean like when we hear hypnosis, we think of like, at least I did, I would think of like, you know, my senior year high school, like party where they had someone come in and he hypnotized everyone. And it was like, oh, like, you know, act like a chicken, and people would like act like a chicken. And I think I was like actually one of them that might've done that. But you know, that's what we think of when we think of like hypnosis, and that's not what it is at all. You are just in a relaxed state. You're very calm. You're very relaxed. You remember everything. You are aware of anything. There is nothing kind of like secretive going on. Like you really know everything that's going on. You're aware. You're just relaxed. That's all it is. And, you know, studies show that our brain waves, right, when they're in different frequencies, that we are in the subconscious mind. And when you're in the subconscious mind, you're just going to absorb things a lot more deeper and release things in a much deeper way. So like, for example, like when we're in a deep state of meditation, right, our brain waves get into certain frequencies. And so that's the same with hypnosis. You're just putting your brain into these certain frequencies that allow you to release and absorb on a much deeper level.
In the Megafest world, we talk a lot about realizing popularity, which is like discovering yourself and your true calling, and releasing the care of what other people think of you, which is popularity, and just really going deep within and loving yourself and having self-trust and all these things. So how do you foster self-trust within yourself? Or do you feel like this is something that you put an emphasis on?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Did not expect this question. And it's so funny because it's literally something that I've been working on so much as of recently and not really even realizing that it was a quote unquote issue or something that I was struggling with. I kind of mentioned earlier that there was like some trauma in my childhood. And I think because of that, at a young age, I tried to tell like some adult figures in my life, that something was going on and I wasn't believed. It was like, sorry, that's not happening. It's not true. And so at a very young age, I didn't trust myself. I didn't believe am I telling the truth? When you're 6 years old, 5 years old, and someone doesn't believe you, it's very easy to then doubt yourself and think, well, am I telling the truth? So I really struggled with this self-trust, and I didn't even realize that I struggled with it. And as a result, like for so much of my life, I was always called to use my voice. Like I did love doing theater, and a lot of kids that, have experiences in their life that are traumatic, they use theater as a way to escape and to become someone else. And I loved theater so much, but I was like terrified to get on stage and do it. And so I would be backstage with my stomach like in a knot, like I wanted to throw up. It was like so bad. And then the second the lights went on, it was time to go, I just like transformed and I loved it. And it was so much fun. And then in law school, or before law school, I was like an LSAT teacher. I taught the law school exam. So I was like in front of, 30, college students who were like my peers really when I first started. And I would teach the LSAT and I would feel so nervous to use my voice and to speak, but then I would do it and I would love it. And I would get such great feedback, but I really just was hard for me to use my voice. And then same in law school, like I became a student teacher, and I remember it was like the final exam study review. And there was always like 10 or 20 kids that would show up, all my peers. And for the final exam, there was like 100 people that came into this huge room. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're all here to like learn from me. Like, what is going on? And, and then even like, as an attorney going to court, and I mean, there's like so many examples. I just went through my whole life, but it's like, there was all this struggle, this fear to like use my voice. And then now as a coach and as, a speaker and someone that is using her voice all the time, I realized that this fear of using my voice and of like struggling with, do I trust myself? Do I know what I'm saying? Like second guessing myself, like I used to have to like plan everything I said, before I would talk in front of a group. I'd have to like write down every word and every thought because I couldn't just speak from my heart and my intuition because I didn't trust myself. And so I've been able to release that and rewrite that story of like, this is who I am. Like, I don't need to prepare. I don't need to show up like so prepared because I just am. Like, this is just coming from my heart and my experience, my intuition, and right. And like something higher than all of us, right. That connects all of us. That is the inspiration for what I have to say. And that's been a long journey, but it's just so funny how you asked me that question because it's been like full circle recently, for me personally. How did I get to that point where like I started to trust myself? It's really just, being okay with someone else not liking what I have to say or someone else not believing what I have to say, right? Because as a child, I wasn't believed. And so then it's like, it shaped my whole identity. But now as an adult, if someone doesn't believe me, that's okay. We can all have different beliefs, and you can listen to this episode and say, oh yeah, I like some of it and some of it I don't. And that's okay. I'm not dependent on someone else believing me or approving of what I have to say, whereas before I was. And that's why there was this fear and this lack of self-trust.
Yeah. God, Katrina, I'm so sorry that you had to go through trauma as a child. Thank you for telling us about it. Thank you. Yeah. Would you seek counsel from the hypnotherapist for any new subconscious, like limiting beliefs that come up, or?
Yeah. I mean, and I want to say something too about like the trauma before we move forward, because I think a lot of people have trauma in their lives. And one, it may not be acknowledged because either the way you grew up, it's like no big deal, right? Like, so for example, if like there's a situation where there's like an older sibling, right, who's like hitting you, or maybe kids like make fun of you and they push you or they're mean to you, like it can be very traumatic for a child to experience. But some families, it's like, oh, that's just like normal. That's no big deal. Like they kind of laugh it off. And until we recognize it as an adult, that's not okay. Right. Then it's hard to find healing until you can at first acknowledge that it's actually trauma. And I think for me, one thing that has really brought it full circle is my daughter is now 5 years old. And that was the age that some of this happened to me. And so I look at her and I think of the things that happened and I'm like, there's no way that that's allowed. There's no way that that is acceptable behavior. And that's freaking traumatic. Yeah. And so I think it's just like acknowledging those things that happened in our life that are traumatic that we may not realize they are because it was never discussed. It was never addressed.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important to just say because I don't want anyone to listen and think like, you know, they may have gone through something worse or less and not feel like it is or isn't traumatic. Like it can all, you know, it depends on your experience and all of that. But just like acknowledging it is the first step to healing.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And then to answer your question about like, would I still go to my hypnotherapist? Absolutely. Like as we are growing and evolving as humans in this experience, like there are things that come up and it's like a layer. It's like an onion, right? This is something that my hypnotherapist always told me. It's like an onion. You like pull back the layers. So there's these layers of like, you know, whatever, self-doubt or self-worth or whatever it is. And you pull down a layer and you go to your next level. And then you're going to hit some resistance here, right? And then you're going to push through that. And then, you know, so it's like we're constantly hitting new levels of resistance and releasing on a subconscious level. And sometimes it's like journaling can just like, that's all you need to release something. Or sometimes it's one breathwork session. And that's, you know, all you need. And sometimes it could be years of working through something, you know, that keeps coming up and coming up and coming up.
And you just have to chip away at it.
Yeah. And so, I definitely do still go see my hypnotherapist, but now I feel like I have even more healers. Like I've been blessed with being introduced to an energy healer and a shaman and expanding my resources for when I need extra support.
I'm so impressed because you have taken it upon yourself to learn some of these ways to work through limiting beliefs or subconscious beliefs. So do you want to tell us about like, what's your favorite or what's your newest one? Which one do you like using?
Yeah, I mean,
find the most, traction with?
I feel like they're all so powerful, but I think breathwork is probably one of my favorites because it is a way to get into a very beautiful meditative state and access our true self, our higher self, the part of us, the I am, right? The part of us that's like eternal, the soul, the part that, you know, has been there since we were a baby and will be there when we're, you know, in our older age. And why is it? Because that part of us is what is connected to source, to the creator of the universe, to oneness. And so when we get out of the mind, when we get out of this, like, you know, 3D reality that we all live in, and we get into a meditative state and we access our higher self and connect to that power source, you can feel so much energy and so much life force. It's life force, right? It's energy. It's jubilant, right? I mean, it really is. Word of the day, right?
Yay!
Yes.
It is.
And when you feel that, Yeah, you do. Like I'm reading the definition I wrote down, feeling or expressing great happiness or triumph. Like you feel all of that. In doing that, in accessing oneness and source and that energy, you're able to like release and forgive, and like it's like a beautiful washing, a cleansing of the traumas in life or of the beliefs that we have that hold us back.
Yeah.
And then when you come out of it, it's like you can feel like a changed person from just one breathwork session. And so I would have to say breathwork is probably my favorite modality.
Wow. I love how you said the washing. The washing. That's really just describes it perfectly.
Yeah. And sometimes there's tears, and that's okay, and it's and it can feel, heavy, which is why, when you do breath work, you want to, make sure that you're trauma informed, that whoever is facilitating it has that trauma informed background, so that if you are triggered, that, you can kind of like ease your way into it, and also remind you that you're safe to feel your feelings, that you are safe to feel. And it's such a beautiful experience.
So what else are you crusading for? What else are you hoping that the people who find you and come in touch with you, what are you hoping that they learn from you?
I think what I really want people to see is that there's truly this story that we tell ourselves as moms, as working moms, and it's this story of like struggle and overwhelm. And I'm not saying there aren't moments of that. I'm not saying it doesn't feel like that, because it does. But when you're caught in this story loop, that becomes your reality. And then it's a lot harder to shift out of it and to experience moments of awe and beauty. And, when you're with your kids and when you're, even working, whatever it is, like we can have those moments throughout the day, and we can have fun every day, and we can just allow our heart to open up. And I think, we just get so caught in just like the grind of everyday life. And even people that are doing this work, right? Like even me, like I can get caught in that web and that grind. And I realized early on as an entrepreneur that I was not going to participate in that like I didn't leave my, 9 to 5 or 9 to 7, career to replace it with another one, like that I'm going to do this on my terms, and that I want to have fun every day, and I want to feel good every day, and I want to connect with people every day. And that we can have that even as working moms who, have to put dinner together and, get the kids ready for bed or whatever it may be.
Like, yeah, my big thing is like, how many butts are you wiping right now? Because it really is, that's how many people are asking you constantly for something, right? It's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. The brushing the teeth and the packing the lunches and all these things, but you can still make it joyful.
Yeah, totally. Because, it starts from us. Right? Like we think, oh, it's the kids. Like I'm overwhelmed because of them, because of what they're doing. And it's like, it starts with us, and that gives us the power back, right? It gives us the power back. Like, how am I feeling today? Have I taken, 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes for myself to fill my tank, to feel a sense of peace and calm, and to set my intentions for the day, and to go out and do mothering from that perspective? Versus before you even see the kids, you're already feeling overwhelmed and worried and stressed. You're going to see more of that in your day, right?
Yeah, for sure. Katrina, I have so many more questions for you. We are running out of time. So let's hear, how can people find you? How can they work with you?
I am pretty active on Instagram. I'm at Katrina with a K, Manifestation Mama. I have a amazing one-on-one program that I offer. So I love to work with clients one-on-one. I also have a membership where we have like a community of women that come together. And then I also am doing an in-person retreat on September 17th. So that's going to be incredible all-day event. And we're going to work on cultivating that peace and calm. And also this is great for women who are in business or who have careers and they want to really up level their business mindset to bring in more abundance in life and at work. Like, I don't just focus on one area or the other. It's like, it's everything. It's how does it look at home and how does it look at work? And let's, bring it all together. So that's going to be on the 17th of September in Orange County. And I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I'm also available at yourinspiredmindset.com.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. So great. Katrina, what song is going to get you on the dance floor? Like, no questions asked. You actually put your margarita down and you're going to hands up in the air.
Oh my gosh. There's so many.
So many.
So I have to say there's this song by, Megan Trainor, and I can't think of the name of it right now. I have this like high vibe playlist that me and my kids listen to like every day. And my husband's always like, are we going to listen to this again? And we're like, yeah. It's like, she's talking about dancing in the song. But
I
yeah,
feel better when I'm dancing.
Yeah. Yes.
One?
Feel better.
Aww.
Yeah. That is the one. But there's so many, right? Like there truly are just like so many songs that I love to dance to. It's hard to pick one. I actually started a dance party at a retreat that I was at when that song came on, and it was actually with Kathy Heller, and she was like, okay, everyone, let's find our seat. But that song was playing. And so I was like, I can't find my seat. And I just like got up and started dancing. And then everyone started dancing and it was a fun dance party.
Oh, love it. Yes. Oh, that is the vibe that Katrina Wu is bringing. Yes. And at your retreat, is there going to be a dance party?
Oh, I'm sure there will be a dance party.
Awesome.
There will definitely be music and most likely dancing.
I love it. This has just been such an incredible jubilation of working mom therapy. And I just feel so much better talking to you, Katrina. So thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and your experiences.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I love all the questions that you ask and all the fun that you put into this. It's so much fun to talk with you.
Thank you. Katrina, she just exudes jubilance, doesn't she? You can find Katrina Wu on Instagram, Katrina_manifestation mama. She has a website, yourinspiredmindset.com. And as if she wasn't busy enough, she also has a podcast, and go check that one out. It's called Manifestation Mama. Actually, I was a guest on her podcast, and it's a lot of the same messages that you're getting here, you're going to find on her podcast. So go check that one out too, Manifestation Mama. And of course, I'll have all the links in the show notes. There are so many ways to get more of Katrina, and it doesn't stop at just her online things. She has retreats, she has a membership, she has one-on-one coaching, and she has a newsletter. So go get your fill of Katrina Wu and prevent yourself from burning out. I really loved how Katrina spoke about hypnosis and that it saved her working life and it helped her manifest the things that she wanted by getting into a meditative state and then releasing all the stories and fears that weren't serving her. I've recently also discovered hypnosis, but it's more of self-hypnosis. I use something called Mind Valley, and it's created by Vishen Lakhani, and he has a method based on Jose Silva, which is called the Silva method, and it's all about hypnotizing yourself, but not in the, as Katrina said, the clucking like a chicken kind of way. It's just getting into that relaxed state so you can give your body a break from all the stresses and tensions, and you can give yourself a minute to listen to your intuition, and the higher knowing, the higher wisdom is able to come through, and you can get those juicy downloads from your intuition and your higher consciousness. I totally just made myself sound so woo-woo, but it really does work. And also for a woman in her 40s who might wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to go to sleep, the relaxation part of self-hypnosis is so helpful. I'm sleeping better. It's giving me answers to questions that I can't figure out with my conscious mind, and we are all better off. So check that out. Katrina also spoke about having intention at the beginning of the day, what you want to feel, what you want your day to look like. And that is a theme that I'm getting with all of our guests, is that it is so important to have intention. It's like setting your GPS. You need to have a direction. Otherwise, life is going to turn you this way and into this tunnel and out into the ocean, and you'll get swept away. If you don't have that sort of rock or that direction, your compass put in a certain direction, so much easier to attain those feelings. Another theme I'm seeing in Megafest with our guests is the importance of breath work. That was Katrina's favorite modality. How true is that? And it's so simple. You can just breathe. Just breathe. And as always, let's honor the fact that you took this time to make yourself just 1% better. You know, they say if a plane or a ship is even off by 1 degree in their navigation, they will end up on a totally different continent. Isn't that crazy? And just think, you are taking this time to make yourself 1% better. And over the course of your life, these small incremental betterments will make a huge difference. So kudos to you. Thank you from my heart to you for listening today. If anything spoke to you, if you liked Katrina, show her some love on Instagram or her website or her podcast. And you can always subscribe to Megafest. Let me know what you liked and how I can keep doing better. Remember, don't just manifest. Megafest!